You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
Spoken from the words of Rahm Emanuel, right out of the book called Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. Where are we? What is happening? I believe it's called The Big Dupe. Welcome to the Nino G Show. I'm your host, Nino Vaquero. Stopping tyranny, or at least trying to exploit it. Man, are we getting duped. Left and right, up and down, every single which way. It's all stemming from one type of people, and it rhymes with left. It is the left. The big dupe runs deep. That was Rahm Emanuel. That was Obama administration. That was their chief of staff. Taking that quote out of the Rules for Radicals, it's a Saul Alinsky's playbook. It's the left's playbook. That's what they do. The big dupe runs so deep that I think we can all remember the start. Actually, let's remember when Donald Trump and his beautiful wife, who speaks all those languages, who the media tries deeming as an idiot, because they're duping us. They were coming down the escalator, and then the Democrats started messing, right? They started the big dupe, conditioning the American people's mind. Let me remind you, the first 2 years of the Trump administration was plagued by that Russia collusion hoax. And it was a hoax. 2 years and millions of dollars of our wasted taxpayer money was put into a dossier that was fabricated by a bunch of Russians. I'm going to use a lot of these facts from the U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs. Put out an 87-page report. This was recently, a couple months back, and it has everything down to a T. Let me read you a little excerpt from this. Let us not forget about how the Democratic National Committee and the Hillary Clinton campaign paid for the Steele dossier, which was created by a foreign national, a former MI6 employee, and is based on Russian government sources. Some of those Russian government sources were part of the Russian presidential administration and supported Hillary Clinton. Moreover, in January 2017 and February 2017, the FBI received a report from the IC intelligence community that assessed portions of the Steele dossier that were a product of a Russian disinformation campaign. Geez, I thought Trump was with the Russians. I thought he was the Russians' best friend. Keep going. Thus, the Steele dossier was the perfect vehicle for disinformation to affect multiple elections and sow discord and chaos. Yet, Democrats had no qualms about disseminating information from the dossier far and wide. Reading parts of the dossier into the congressional record and using the allegations as the basis for years of investigations of false claims against the Trump administration. That was just the tip of the iceberg. That's what started all this. So the conditioning of the American people's mind by the big dupe perpetrated by the left, it all started, that was 2 years of conditioning of people's minds, 2 years of nothing, 2 years of standstill in the Senate because Mitch McConnell was being duped left and right. So might I add that this dupe goes far, it goes deep into the American psyche. I just want to give a brief snapshot of what we had to deal with during the Trump administration. Besides the fact that they had some of the best policies on earth that weren't talked about because they were hidden from the lamestream, sensational media. But the 4 big points I'm going to talk about today: Russia collusion, the first impeachment sham, which was the Ukraine call, the second impeachment sham, which was the selfie insurrection, and then now the present day dupage that we just keep getting hit with. So let's go straight into that. What was the Ukraine call about? I remember the left peddling the idea that it was Donald Trump was pressuring the Ukrainian government to look into President Biden because he was going to lose to President Biden, and he was pressuring him to do this. Is that the case? Well, let's go back to the U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs of what they said, what they put out in that document. Mitch McConnell stalled multiple attempts of the Trump administration to put some fantastic policies down. They were passing in the House, they were getting to the Senate, and Mitch McConnell was still protecting the Republican establishment and the agenda or the deep state mindset of where they were in that establishment. They were fixing it, they were stalling because they were getting duped by the damn Democrats for the Russia collusion hoax. But I want to show you something now, the old double standard of Mitch McConnell, because now Mitch McConnell just won another 6 years. During his campaign, he was actually hurting. In the polls, I don't like polls that much, but realistically, he was losing. So Donald Trump said, you know what, fine, I'll do it. I will endorse you. I will get behind you. And Donald Trump got him reelected. So Mitch McConnell is either one, he's caught with his pants down now, understands that he was duped, or two, he's just playing the career politician model that he really is. But I want to get back to the fact that now Mitch McConnell, during that time, stalled every piece of legislation that came through because he believed in the Russia collusion hoax. He believed in the dupe by the Democrats because he's a deep stater like the rest of them. Now he's caught with his pants down and he's changing his tune. Ladies and gentlemen, Mitch McConnell.
Republicans wound up back in the saddle. We wouldn't just erase every liberal change that hurt the country. We'd strengthen America with all kinds of conservative policies with zero input from the other side. How about this? Nationwide right to work for working Americans. Defunding Planned Parenthood in sanctuary cities on day one. A whole new era of domestic energy production. Sweeping new protections for conscience and the right to life of the unborn. Concealed carry reciprocity in all 50 states.
Oh, about time, Mitch. Concealed reciprocity in all 50 states. Why is this a thing in 2021? This should have been a thing since always. You're caught with your pants down. You don't even know what you're doing anymore, Mitch. You're lucky you got 5 more freaking years because Donald Trump got you elected. You're a day late and a dollar short. You better sack up and get ready to legislate. One of the finest displays of political theater I've seen in a while. Mitch, you're not fooling any of us. I hope you're serious now because you stalled one of the greatest presidential administrations of modern time. You stalled him because you were duped by the Democrats. Moving on. The big dupe ensues. So let's move right into the first impeachment hoax, where the Republican establishment is, they're starting to push back now because they understand that, hey, you crafty Democrats, you guys are super crafty, but you are considering to push. You're never letting a good crisis go to waste. So let's see where the next deflection leads us. To the dreaded Ukraine call. All right. Well, let's get up to the beginning, first of all. Unclassified. This is the declassified by order of the president. This is Donald Trump declassifying his transcript because the media was pushing a false narrative that he was pressuring a government to withhold things in order to get someone fired. Oh, wait. I think that was someone else. Let's get into it. The president. President Trump. Congratulations on a great victory. We all watched from the United States and you did a terrific job. The way you came from behind somebody who wasn't given much of a chance and you ended up winning easily. It's fantastic achievement. Congratulations. President Zelensky responds to that. Let's get into the deep paragraph to where he is talking about the Democrats are pushing. This is where Donald Trump is pressuring him into doing something so egregious, so bad. But is it the big dupe? Because it's deflecting from what is going on here. The President of the United States. I would like to thank you to do us a favor through because our country has been through a lot and Ukraine knows a lot about it. I would like you to find out what happened with this whole situation with Ukraine. They say CrowdStrike. I guess you have one of your wealthy people, the server, they say Ukraine has it. There's a lot of things that went on, the whole situation. I think you're surrounding yourself with some of the same people. I would like to have Attorney General call you, Attorney General Barr, that's who it is, call you from your people, and I would like you to get to the bottom of it. As you saw yesterday, that whole nonsense ended with a very poor performance by a man named Robert Mueller and an incompetent performance. But they say a lot of it started with Ukraine. Whatever you can do, it's very important that you do it if that's possible. President Zelensky, yes, it is very important for me and everything that you just mentioned earlier. For me as a president, it is very important that we are open and for any future cooperation. We are ready to open a new page on cooperation and relations between the United States and Ukraine. For that purpose, I just recalled our ambassador from the United States, and he will be placed by a very competent and very experienced ambassador who will work hard on making sure that our two nations are getting closer. I'm not going to read the rest of it. You guys can read it whenever you want. It's an unclassified report of the Ukraine call. It shows nothing happened. But one thing that does show something that happens is there is nothing that shows a pressure to fire anybody, to push anything. Check down here. I will have Mr. Giuliani give you a call, and I'm also going to have Attorney General Barr call, and we will get to the bottom of it. I'm sure you'll figure it out. I heard the prosecutor was treated very badly, and he was a very fair prosecutor. So good luck with everything. Your economy is going to get better and better, I predict. You have a lot of assets. It's a great country. I have many Ukrainian friends. They're incredible people. Before we finish, I do want to show you this. This is very important. This is President Trump. He was responding to what the Ukrainian president said he was going to do. The President Trump responds, good, because I heard you had a prosecutor who was very good and he was shut down, and that's really unfair. A lot of people are talking about that. The way they shut your very good prosecutor down, and you had some very bad people involved. Mr. Giuliani is a highly respected man, and he was the mayor of New York City, a great mayor, and whom I'd like him to call you. I will ask him to call you along with the Attorney General. Rudy very much knows what's happening, and he's a very capable guy. If you could speak to him, that would be great. The former ambassador of the United States, the woman was bad news, and the people she was dealing with in Ukraine were bad news. So I just want a lot to let you know that. The other thing, there's a lot of talk about Biden's son. That Biden stopped the prosecution, and a lot of people want to find out about that. So whatever you can do with Attorney General would be great. Biden went around bragging that he stopped the prosecution. So if you could look into it, it sounds horrible to me. So with that transcript, it seems like Donald Trump had a very nice conversation, a fully transparent conversation, might I add. And there was no pressuring or any crooked, let's say, corruption involved in that. But I do have a clip from the Council on Foreign Relations with ours truly, Joseph Biden, saying something that was pretty alarming a couple years ago whenever he was the vice president. I'll let you guys decide.
I'm desperately concerned about the backsliding on the part of Kyiv in terms of corruption. They made, I'll give you one concrete example. I was, not but it just happened to be that was the assignment I got. I got all the good ones. So I got Ukraine. And I remember
You got all the good ones because you chose it.
going over convincing our team, or others, to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
Yikes! Now that, that to me is a cause and effect. Career politicians making money, depleted, using our treasury to enrich their families. Big Dupe 1, perpetrated, cause and effect. Change the narrative, charge the president with a fake impeachment hoax so the American people believe that Donald Trump did something wrong. To me, I don't know. I'm not Mr. Magoo here. I can see things, but I'll tell you one thing, that's a little fishy. A little fishy, just like the rest of the sensational fake news media. I think it's important for us to look at what happened next was the fake, sensational, melodramatic news media steps into power and goes right into describing the existential threat to Mr. Trump's presidency. Here's a New York Times article published December 18th, 2019. Instead, the existential threat to Mr. Trump's presidency centered around a half-hour phone call in July. On it, he pressured Ukraine's president to announce investigations into former Vice President Joe and other Democrats. At the same time, he was withholding nearly $400 million in vital military assistance for the country in the White House briefing. With their dupage and their narrative pushing, the left is a crafty, crafty bunch. And it comes deep. It goes from the lamestream news media all the way into our homes. Might I add, the title of that stunning display of journalism was Trump Impeached for Abuse of Power and Obstruction of Congress. Yeah, that transcript proved a lot of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. The good thing is we're living in the future now, and that was a part of the big dang dupe. Big dupe number 3. Coming in to the second impeachment sham. The second impeachment sham was Trump allegedly had all those people come down and do the selfie insurrection. The armed selfie insurrection! That, might I add, the FBI published that not one of those individuals arrested had any form of weaponry, i.e. small arms, i.e. gun, assault weapon, anything you want to call it. They didn't have any on them. So this selfie insurrection where all those knuckleheads ran down there and started trashing things, which you didn't have to do that. Could have went in there, made your point, took the damn podium and got out, took your selfies. But by doing that, the left, never letting a good crisis go to waste, duped our good friend Mitch McConnell again. And now Mitch McConnell tries to posture in another beautiful display of political theater, but it shows how inept they are at seeing what the hell is going on. The big dupe is being perpetrated on them and the American people. Here's Mitch McConnell being stern with his chest out.
I want to say to the American people,
You ain't saying nothing because you look scared trying to do it.
the United States Senate will not be intimidated. We will not be kept out of this chamber by thugs, mobs, or threats.
What happened for the 2 years during the Russia collusion hoax when all those thugs that you're surrounded with by the left were keeping you from doing what you needed to do? And then you had to come back and say, oh, well, Republicans get back in the saddle. Keep going, Mitch.
We will not bow to lawlessness or intimidation.
What happened with the whole summer of riots that were being perpetrated by the left, allowing them to go on and ensue to create the big dupe, which led us to the ultimate COVID relief bill, which was a giant bailout for all the dupage from all the thugs that the left was allowing to happen.
We are back at our posts. We will discharge our duty under the Constitution and for our nation.
You're a daggone hero. Wow, good display, good display. Start waking up to these career politicians. Start understanding that they... It's all coming from the left. The big dupe is continuing to ensue, and there's a little excerpt that I want to read from the U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs, that document I showed you earlier. Here it is. Despite its inaccuracies, the Democrats' false narrative has continued to be picked up and amplified and circulated by a broad network of Democrat-friendly media outlets and Democrat members of Congress. The big dupe is on. The big dupe is here. In the next episode, we're going to talk about Biden's beautifully diverse and historic press conference. The left is a crafty bunch. They are very, very, some would say, fascistic, communistic, socialistic. Get off your damn phones. Stop being told how to think. Stand up for liberty. Don't be afraid to challenge the narrative. Until next time, thanks for being a part of the Nino G Show.